Here's an excerpt from the video I made called The Holy Grail Explained.
Watching the detectives, right? So the backwards paranoia.
All right. So let's just go back to charting and how to read the markets. Now, before I go off on several different tangents about, the financial markets and the financial world, the people that are successful in the financial markets don't necessarily understand how they work from a cycle or a technical level. They just get information that the rest of us aren't privy to, and that makes their life easier. But if you just go to one of the stupid financial shows where you got, four idiots sitting around in a circle, and two of them say one thing's going up and the other two say, it's going down, it's all orchestrated. Because one of them's going to be right, and then the following day or weeks after, when everybody's forgotten about the guys that guessed it wrong, the guys that said, well, yeah, we knew that Microsoft was going to go down because, that's, we just had that feeling, and, when people are buying and selling and, and they just give some long ass, Stevie Wonder-like acceptance speech on how great they were.
Wait a minute. Stevie Wonder?
And they're not saying anything because they have nothing to say. They have no idea why the market goes up and down.
Oh, boy.
But I do.
Here we go.
I know why a market turns.
Oh, boy.
I know how, if it reaches a certain level, it might be likely to turn there.
Oh,
but even if I'm wrong and it still continues, I know why it's continuing.
Okay.
I can figure that out, either before the fact or after the fact when I'm testing. I can see it. It's visible.
Come on.
Okay? That's what Robinacci does.
Here we go. This is very good.
This is why I've had death threats. This is why, I meet weird people at restaurants and they know where I am and they let me know that they know where I am.
He's kidding.
This is real for me. It's not a joke.
How's he keeping it?
Okay? It just turns out that I honestly don't care anymore.
Oh, boy.
They made me sick for over a year and, messed with my brain chemistry or whatever they did to give me headaches and, everything else. And, I feel good enough to fight back a little bit. So here I go.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's a classic. So the Bitcoin, I put in the jigsaw here manually, looking back into the voids of the Bitcoin. I did leave out the very tippy top void there. I think I put in a colored box. But this, of course, this was built on the weekly, so there's actually a so-called fractal there on the reason why this starts here. It's right on that one bar, so I went bar by bar. Actually, there's a leap to this, and I'm just making that a fractal. So Bill Williams, the problem with his fractals is he's waiting for it to be a perfect 5 bar thing, and his fractal won't show up until it'll show up back a few bars. If you watch it play back in Strategy Tester, it's waiting for the 5th bar to throw in a fractal 2 bars back. Right, so if you're going to go stop entry systems, volatility breakout systems trade against the limits. So if you're buying or selling, you could still be slightly pregnant going into that. The question is, are you going to trade now or are you going to trade later? Are you putting in orders that'll get triggered in a session coming up, or are you going to get in the market now? And that's the ultimate question, because Oh, the ultimate question is how much time do you want to be in a trade or exposed to a fill of a pending, which is really like being in the market. So if you have a pending order out there, you're saying, well, I'm risking a fill. And what does that do? Um, is that, do you have time to adjust for that trade? Now, if you're trading 1Ks, micro lots, which it was astonishing that this Renko guy finally figured it out. Yes, you can put in quite a bit of orders. You can plant all those little seeds and create a whole sea of clover worth millions of dollars. Or you uh, trade one in and one out, like this Jason Greystone guy. One in and one out. And look for a high quality setup. I don't know how much, which takes more energy to scrutinize an entry and saying this, I better be 80% right on this. If it's a high quality, you would think it's naturally up at the top of the scale. RSI, MACD, your cloud system, everything's queuing up on this one entry. Look at this Bitcoin here on the weekly. So, massive triangle forming, wedge, lack of volatility is making the wedge. It's drifting. The charts, in case anybody's not familiar with charting, it's like the past is on the left side and the future's on the right. Now, it may seem like you don't have to explain that, but I imagine that if you really thought about it in kind of a Zen way of being really crude about it, you'd say, well, yeah, because if they, well, maybe in Israel, they're running it backwards. They're reading backwards there. So maybe their charts go the other way. Um, or you could go top down, and I did some charting, like where I took some, I don't think I've ever made a video of them, but I took the chart the way it is now, and I just colored in above and below in two different colors, and then I turned it sideways in a portrait, and then I ran it up and down. And it was supposed to be like a test for people to say, what do you think that is? And just curious to see what somebody, because I know what it is, but I'd like to see the interpretations, because depending on how you view the unfolding of price, it's just been, I guess it's like driving a car now, you know. So when people say, "Oh, I'm trading this level 2 or market profile," okay, well, all they've done is taken and turned the chart sideways. Now looking into it. The idea of market profile, which is supposed to be but you can kind of see it here. You have, well, I can see the profile of the density of shelves here. And if you, on market profile, maybe you're going to have the same thing I have here, which is focusedness here, and then spread out, spread out, spread out. And this is a perfect market. In a way, Bitcoin is the perfect market. Currently, I mean, it's just a cliche, I should say. Um, the people buying here, you can only imagine what a heartbreaker. And the people that bought here thinking, oh no, this is the pullback, dude, this is fucking the beginning of the next Elliott wave. What a classic fucking, I did a whole video on this thing going like back to the beginning of it. I think I spent 2 hours on it. Here's first top bottom. Here's your doji being retested. The doji retest into the top. It crushes back. No volatility, no sellers coming in. Then we get this insane move. Sellers come in. Ran out of sellers. There's only 1-2 weeks you could buy this on the weekly. And it's a pure market. It doesn't get any better than this, and this is just going to turn into a big fucking noisy mess. If this thing even is able to stay, I mean, why isn't Bitcoin just at $50? Dude, it's just an exchange. I don't even understand why they're bidding it to here. All it is a blockchain. In other words, it's saying like MasterCard, all the tickets. Once people wake up to the fact that all Bitcoin is it's like the first time carte blanche came out. It's so cute that people are all, oh, dude, this is like, yeah, okay, really? Who gives a fuck? You're investing in Bitcoin and the blockchain? Dude, it's just nothing but a log of tickets, unique numbers. I can't even believe people fell for this shit. It's just hysterical. You look back on this shit and you'd be like, oh yeah, it's like pet rocks. Love that. Oh, you got any pet rocks? I got them on eBay. On open box. Okay, maybe down open box. Bitcoin, what a fucking joke. But unfortunately, if you're going to use this as a transfer instrument, well, that's the thing. What's going to happen to Bitcoin is it's just going to tread water, like gold. What if all the volatility dies out in Bitcoin? Will people trade it? And when things volatility dies out, you get a doji. Everybody agrees. The price. They say it's indecision, but it's actually agreement, right? It may not be making a decision, but everybody agrees on the price. Nobody's fighting over it. Doji. And then, so it pauses. Trend continuation entry points then. Put your stops in above and below. Get picked up in the stream. Or, in the micro level, you're looking to counter trend, enter into the trend. You're looking for pullbacks, pull-ups, pull to the right, to the left. Yeah, that'd be a mind bender. Have somebody that doesn't know anything about anything and run the chart. Flip the monitor, chart only. And that'd be tough. I mean, because you'd have to flip, you'd have to force the charting onto another screen and still have your drops running the way they are now on another screen. So as you drag them over, of course, it'd be tough. You'd have to drag them over and then up and down. You know, you'd be a little disoriented there. But if you've never done it before in your life, you know, it's going to be different. So, yeah, the Bitcoin. This is going to be some kind of fascinating tour here in the next 6 months. I would say, well, you got the end of the year coming up. So here's the end of the year. You know, I can almost see, without putting any stuff on there, any trend lines or anything. You know, I did not mark off this critical price here. There should be a box coming back into here on the weekly. Anybody want Bitcoin at 3,000? I mean, it's gonna be like that. If you're just trying to use this to transfer money to the US dollar, that's a completely different thing, and that's what it is. It's a blockchain. That's why it's ridiculous that it's at this price. It doesn't make any sense. Oh, I get it. You're storing your shit on a ledger. Dude, to get it into the ledger and have it be a unique number is it. Oh, so it's a savings account that doesn't pay interest? What the fuck is Bitcoin? So, anyways, people. Oh, I know. I've got a computer buddy that was explaining it to me. And the other coin, with the other coin, altcoin. I'm like, everything's an alt already. The fuck? Something's out for 2 weeks, and then it's got alts of it. Yeah, well, that's just not in anymore. Oh God, does like black lingerie ever go out of? Like, as long as there's white people, right? Because, well, if you're lingerie, matches your skin tone too well. That's a problem, right? It's like, yikes, you're not wearing anything. Um, but so the Bitcoin, it's just so amazing that this chart was created last year. Or I should say the end of last year. Now you're coming up on the end of this year. It's only 2 years of data. It just reminds me of a penny stock. And then people are like, wah, wah, wah. I guess, let's see, let me think about that Bitcoin one more time. You mean to tell me it's a number that you used a computer to find a unique number so I could have a personal domain that nobody else has? And I own that. And then the people are like, uh-huh. And I don't know. Why is somebody please explain to me, if you can send me to a source that's telling me how people bid this fucker to 20 grand. Now I get that if you got in at $900, you're like, but you could do this in Forex, couldn't you? With leverage? In other words, if this is zero leverage game on this, imagine we're zero leverage trading this. And I said to you, hey, do you got like 2 grand I could borrow? What are you going to do, man? Oh, I don't know. I'm just going to risk the whole 2 grand. I mean, what's the worst, right? You buy Bitcoin at 2 grand, you got no stop on it, right? And you're up to 20 grand. I mean, people do this in Forex all week long, don't they? This trade. All right, you're getting in with a stop. Say you're using $900 of risk to make $500 a week, $1,000 a week. I don't know how hard you want to work. Do you want to hustle through? You pretty much got to be divorced from the fact that you're trading all that money on some level if you've never traded that much money. So I think you have to really get used to that number, whatever it is, and then you would have to build on it, just like you would have to get used to losing really big. But the question is, do you want to die from, they say, it's a death of 1,000 cuts? Yes, I do want that. Because I have a chance then. But if you come and just hit me with a guillotine, I think, so if you're going to put in 5 standard lots on one ticket, okay. But hopefully you got Medusa situation where you have multiple heads, because you're really saying, oh, I think this is a good trade. And this guy was trying to make 300 to 600 pips on the pound versus CAD. And he's sizing up the buy on that. Okay. Well, depending on how big you pull the trigger on that, because I guess you're probably just trading a 1K. It's $30, so that's not a bad. Risk $10 to make $30, 100 bips stop. So he could have made $60 on that. And how wouldn't you get to the point where you became flexible enough and not lazy enough to trade around your position? Letting your profits run, okay, but there's an exit door. The market's screaming up. You could peel off the whole fucking position and get out of that and reload. See, this is where you would just have to put in at least 3 tickets. And I just figured it out. Some people just can't handle thinking more than one thing at a time. So they can only handle 1 ticket at a time. And that's another reason why people are all pissed off that I'm trading a 1K. Because they're saying, well, you're saying that I'm saying I don't really know the exact pip that the market's going to turn around in, and I'm making allowances for that. And they're saying, fuck that. I've got a Fibonacci tool, and I've got Renko, and I've got point and figure, fill in the blank, cloud trading, which is a severe filter, and it's a setup based entry. It's not a diverse entry. It's just a very clunky. Most of these systems that people have written books about, they make an assumption that you're just going to get in this one trade. But those setups are so rare. I mean, they're really good, but those setups would coincide with any natural breakout system. The trend continuation, now, the idea that the market pulls back 618 is also a big fallacy, because if you're going to get in there, well, how do you know this isn't the leg of a giant down move? So last night I said I had to buy the Australian dollar, and I said, okay, and I put pendings in here. Shit, gotta get to the chart. And this guy that I had to ban says, well, it's a 618. He says, you know how to play chess? And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. And he says, well, look at the euro dollar on the daily. Look at the Australian. Look at New Zealand. Hey, look at. I'm like, okay. This is why it's never gone good for me. I think 4 years ago I was at this FX Street, and I'd done a lot of stuff there. And there was a guy named Charles Manson, and he looked like Charles Manson. And he was in the chat window, and he came in every morning all pissed off. So he just rail on people. But I knew he was kidding, or even if he wasn't kidding, it was hysterical. He was over the top, out of his fucking mind, rude. And his name was Chuck Manson or something. And it was Charlie with a swastika on his head. So there was also this girl Lisa there who was really tame, and she had giant candles. That was her deal. And she's down in Florida or something. She's got like some fund she's running now, or she trades. She puts out a newsletter or something, like, okay, we've got a breakout on the hammer, let's go long. I mean, and there was a guy there that was a scalper, and his handle was this little clock. And this guy would scalp big for like 8.5 pips. He's like, yeah, I just took that move. And these were real traders, And there was also the trolls in there, so. And then the guy that owned it in Barcelona, FX Street guy, he shut down the chat window, and it was like pointless now because it was the only social part of it. And they had these, they tried to be, I don't know if they're still there, FX Street, I guess. But they had to go offshore. They're in Spain. And that was fun. But, when it comes down to your own personal feelings about how big you want to trade on each decision, and then you realize how many decisions you make every day just to get down the street in your car, like checking the fuel as you're driving maybe, and looking and see, not enough margin. So when I look at my gauge, I'm like, is there enough margin for this drive? What if your whole world was trading and you just walked around and everything was a trading reference? That'd be kind of fun. So you're ordering coffee. Can you put a few pips in my part? What? Yeah, I want to hedge this espresso. What? Yeah, I would put some water in there. Make an Americano. Okay. Yeah, just make that the normal way to speak. So, yeah, here's the euro dollar. And I would be long on this had I placed the orders, and they would basically be on these clever 25 pip handles that the market has a lot of respect for, But honestly, the high value area is this basement here. And so how wouldn't that just be a great genius move to put your order right here where the stops are being hunted? The daily stop hunter is a different kind of stop hunter than the 4-hour stop hunter. Turn on my entries here. So this should become apparent at some point when you look at the retail, and I guess this is what they mean by people that are reading the books on trading, the retail entry, that you're looking at, I'm going to make my entries white and the stops and take profits are non-existent. So here I'm just worried about entry. So volume is, the volume setting gives you this white color. And now I can keep track of my $5 risk system. So each time I drop this, I'm risking $5 to make 4, to make 5. Here, these aren't real numbers because you got to put the spread in there. But essentially, if I was trying to risk $5 to make $5, I would buy like here all day long. So this daily chart, I think we missed our sell up here. Selling. So selling new highs in the daily is different than selling new highs on the 4-hour. Because that is a 24-hour rooftop. Inside that daily bar, I think ICT could probably understand this. Inside that 24-hour session, above and below it, it's a bigger range. So for a real trend continuation person or an algo, a blind ambition bot, it would identify this any candles under 60 pips it would put a buy stop and a sell stop. And what is the exit though? This is why you can't trade one ticket. If it doesn't get out here, okay, you're filled short here, and this ticket, another thing to consider, are you going to delete this ticket, or are you going to leave it in case it goes like that? Do you, once upon selling here, move a stop to here? Because if you do, you're going to lose only this much, right? I'm talking stop entry now. Talking, dare I say, retail. Albert Brooks first, he recommends people put buy stops here and sell stops here. Sell stop. If you are a trend trader, how do you know you're in a downtrend? So my trends, the way I read the trend, if it's going up, it's in an uptrend. So how do you know it's going up? It's going up. At the end of this candle, you're in an uptrend. At the end of this candle, you're in an uptrend, 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 downtrend. But you've got more up, one down, pull back in the structure. Stop hunt is pretty, it's a sliver. I don't think people realize this is a high quality trade. Getting in here. All right. Getting out for 25, 50, 75, 100 pips. Right. Is it that easy? Yes. Will people do it? No. Because when people did the sell stop here, their buy stop here, and they don't get out here when you're coming back into this basement, and besides the volatility is kicked up, you can't even add to this winner. And then here comes your robot. Your money management system says, well, let's trail a stop. This is going to keep tanking. And it comes back. It stops you out and you lose this much. And you all this money on the table because you're a one-ticket trader. You're fucked. You can't live off one fucking scheme. You can't play one chord all day. I mean, we do it, but we change the beat. We can play one chord for 20 minutes. We can play 5 notes in a circle sideways up your ass for 20 minutes. If you paid me, I'd do it for 6 hours. I mean, it's easy. But once you put too much shit on this chart, right? Once you say, well, the Tankanashi's down the. You just gotta. For me, I gotta drill into these charts. I remember these days. Like, okay, let's take a look at this chart. Now, there's all sorts of ways to frame this chart. When people talk about the trend, if you mark off this daily event, which was money to be made coming into the beginning of the month, and once we started to clean this shit out, see, the scalpers that have limits here to buy this, they had to get out here, but this would also mean you have to be flexible enough to go, okay, that's a dead cat bounce. What's more critical is they stop hunted the bears money management bots. And this is the biggest money maker so far this month. And you have to buy into that at the end of the day. Which means you got to get out of your cell something. Because now, maybe I'm making it too complicated. I guess I'm bouncing around, but you're just, I'm not charging. This is important. This whole. In other words, as you look back, right? Now, we don't want to do this. Okay, this is what they fucking do. Like, well, there's a low back. Okay, I got it. But, dude, we don't live back there. We live right here on the daily. Also, the people, I'm not looking to get viewers by making fun of other people. I'm looking to fucking bitch about stupidity. That's all I'm doing. And invite people to get their, just look at what's going on instead of look at all of the mirages people have built and all the, it's just, you know, the emperor's clothes factor of life. And this is, okay, so this is 2 days. This is 1 day. This is 1 day, and this is 20 pip box. So what if you had a sell limit here that lasts all day? Of course, because you don't need it to last all week unless you never get filled on this. Once they fill that ticket, and this, we're talking just one little ticket, and everything you do in every one of these currency pairs, you got all fucking week to place these orders. So, sad to say there's no excuse, because also, what about 3 days of nothing happening? Is that not, or 4 days of nothing happening? Is this not a flag, a doji? Is that not a double top? I mean, can the market be this crude? Yes. Can it be this cliche? Yes. Double top at the 25, almost. Value swing. Can this top be where people sold and they're like, oh yeah, man, it's going down the other way. And they're like, uh-oh, sorry, no, it's going the other way. Oh, sorry, trapped you. Oh, fucked you. Oh, gee. It's almost like it's noisy. Man, the battle. But if you don't have 1 foot in the stream of going the other way, right? I hate to sound gay. It's going the other way, you know. You're going against the trend. Do you see that you're going? How about gay forex? Wouldn't that be great? Welcome to gay forex. You're going against the trend again. I think maybe Renko was gay. I'm nothing against it. Just, you know, when I drop this up, please, could you pick it up for me? Yeah, there's just, and people have no sense of humor, I guess. Okay, so look at all these windows of course, somebody would say, well, this is hindsight. Well, dude, you're going to need the idea that you can handle a 80 pip stop at some point in your life. If you don't want it to sit here, or you just have sell limits in the really cheap window right here. So what you're doing is saying, I will enter on the trapped breakout algo. And let's not think it, the beauty of robots is that we could think of this as we're trading against the algos. Because I really was shocked to hear that when somebody's winning, somebody's losing, and I felt bad about that for people. I thought, really? Oh my God, you mean there's somebody on the other side of that trade? I'm like, oh, poor son of a bitch. So you really are trading against other traders, but the idea that you're trading against the best traders in the world is just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Now look at this window. Very narrow stop hunt window here, you don't get filled. So here you'd have to be getting in on the stop hunt. There's inside of here, there's going to be a undercut to get in. I said undercut, I mean if you are looking at the market profile view of this, as you come down here, here's the undercut. So there's no undercuts. There's nothing but. So here is the hole. And this is what people call, and then I was saying Bollinger Bands. And that guy was like, Bollinger Bands? So if this is your, but see once this, I call that the cipher vac. Once this TP's filled, and now we've got this wonderful triple bottom here in Wickage. So this is, to me, this is the Gartley. What I call this, the dual void thing here. So I also have the crushing void on top. This one I call this the boat. The boat trade. But that's an interesting inability to get higher there. Only in a 25 pip window, so you could run 25 pip stops. But you'd have to get out of this trade. When you get filled here, you've got to get out in one day. This does not go on forever. Those kind of trades here, you're getting trapped short. But if you can handle psychologically getting in both legs with a 50 pip stop, this one will make the 100 pips. So you got to figure, if this is a 25 pips and this is your 50 pip and this is your 75 pip stops, even if you sold at the market here hard with the 50 stop, the 25 got stopped out, the 75 still holding. No trade on the market. No trade, sell at the market. You have two sells here. Well, counter trend trading doesn't work. Yeah, really? How's that? The bigger it's up, the more you sell, or the wider your stop. It's up pretty big. I'm going to put in a wide stop here. I'll put in a stop this big, get stopped out. Then it's up pretty good again. I put a stop here. Don't get stopped out. It's up. I get in with a tighter stop. It's up. I get in with a really tight. In other words, the less it's up, the tighter your stop at the market, which means you're risking more on big moves. Big up move, 100 pip stop. That's a no-brainer trade right there. You just lock that trade in. Here, you buy. You put a stop in here. Here you buy. You put a stop in here. Buy. You get stopped out. Buy. Here you buy real big, and now you've got stops here. These are the market orders. At the same time, you're doing this, which is going to seem really awkward, but fortunately, You have to be able to switch genders on the fly every day. So today you're going to be a boy, next day you're a girl, honestly. If you're going to make consistent money. Because if you're going to follow that scheme of if it's down big, I'm buying. If it's down, I'm buying. So if it's down, I buy a little bit because it's down a little bit with a tight stop. And then if it's really down, I buy with wider stops. So I'm long, I'm long, I'm long. You're also taking into account the last price pulse is huge. That means these have to be pullbacks. Regardless of whether this is Fibonacci plus, these are only the market orders. You have limits in here that are filling. After this is down, you buy at the market with a limit here to buy more. Now I know it sounds wrong because you're going to go underwater. But if you're only underwater on a 1K, does it bother you? You could move up to a 2K, but did you just doubled your risk? Per matrix of scaled stops and take profits, whatever the lattice you've laid that's organic, it's not going to be a linear if you place them by hand because the market is receding and expanding organically without any. It's more than random. It's chaotic. The burst out of it, but you can kind of see the burst is coming. It's the continuation. So the reason why people would get killed trading Ellie wave because they're counting on wave 5, and they can't imagine an extension. So that is a problem because they're like, oh yeah, this is supposed to be what's going on here, and they don't have a backup plan to just trade mechanical trading with breakout stop entry, which is cruel and unusual punishment. If you've ever made money selling on limits here or selling into this, it's up hard into your kill zone. You're selling at the fucking market. But you're gonna shit your pants when you see these prices. If you don't, if you risk 2% of your account on this trade, you have nothing left in the chamber for these add-ons. Plus, you got the this whole time this has been marching up. If I'm gonna soften this undercut a little bit, there is not a fucking lower low there. Lower low. What do you call it? It's pure vacuum formation. So looking straight back in market profile style, this doesn't matter anymore. And now this doesn't matter anymore. What happened here doesn't matter anymore. All that matters now is we're trapped beneath this giant, and we're in this giant cave right now. Or however you want to look at it. This void. The exit where you have to take something off is going to be the floor. There's this one. There's the one from the people that went short here. Now, for them to make money, and for these guys to make money, they like I said, depending on how you can't backtest this. Does it make sense to backtest one silly setup like this where you're saying, okay, I went short, I moved my stop to a trail, or I moved my stop down? This is where you totally have different results. Is my stop going to hug and be very conservative, or is it going to be out here and take a bigger hit when I'm wrong? It's inevitable. So if I said, well, I'm going to, I don't see an entry here. I guess here. Sell stop. This is a smallish bar. I'm filled short. I run a hard hugging order, right? It limits my risk to here. This is my loss now. And maybe it stop and reverse and go long. And if it does that, then that's where the flexibility comes in. And trading bidirectionally on a mechanical system, most people test bidirectionally because if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander, so to speak. But, I'm just speaking pure stop entry at this point, mechanical, crude criteria. But having a money management that hugs the last bar is completely different than one that's going to say, well, I'm going short here, and my stop is so much of ATR or some wackadoodle number, and you've given the market more room. By the time you get here, and then you let your profits run concept, you don't even, you get stopped out here. Maybe it's going to go back 2 bars. Well, because of this little mini vac, yeah, I just assumed everybody could see that. These Renko people and stuff. I just assumed when I explained it that maybe I'm just not explaining it because I'm just assuming that people have traded or they've thought about a mechanical system that doesn't involve the view of this structure, so to speak. Just the crudest thing, like a self-driving car. It sees, oh, we got volatility. Well, there's no trade for us. We're waiting. That robot's looking for shit to calm down. Like when there's a lull, and then it's going to put on its thing. So it's actually not even, but you're still trading on limits, hopefully, to make up for the fact that this breakout bot's going to get burned. It's going to lose. And if the ratios are good, so people say, what about the ratios? Well, you have to have a spectrum of ratio. So here I've got like risk 5 to make 12, risk 5 to make 15. Now, if you can put some of these on your favorites, but be careful. If you double click them, they'll try to edit. So if you're in the middle of scalping, it's not a good idea. If you're power snipering or something. So add to favorites. And of course, here an interesting thing happens is you add this to the favorites, you end up with a color alternation. Windows is going to give you 2. So I haven't done this in a while, but so the only harm is that if you double click that thinking it's a drag, that it's a double click, it's going to open the editor, which is a real, unless you have a solid state drive, it's going to be a drama. Or a fast computer. I guess MetaTrader to me would run on a fucking 286 apparently faster under Windows 3.1 than it's trying to run on top of. I put the fucking thing just. I've never seen anything struggle so fucking hard. Of course they put all this shit in here now. Just like everything else, it's all spammed out. It's like fucking Facebook. You got this market shit up in here. Oh, don't forget signals. I didn't even get into that. Here, you want a signal service? Look at these people making. Yeah, people are making money in these algos. Look at this guy. Look at. He's making fucking money. It's not that hard. Look, this guy's up 14%. Can these people crash and burn these things? Look at that. They're making money. What the fuck? Dude, it's hilarious. All I'm saying that if you're going to trade with, and these could be robots or these could be real people. Here, this guy's getting crushed. Trade like a pro. Right now he's getting crushed. I think maybe I'm on the top performer list here. So, I'm so tangential. But this, here you have you're going to limit your trading to just this. You're going to peruse the currencies and go, oh, I like this trade here. Oh, yeah, I'll do this. That looks good. It's not too hard. Here's your CAD yen. Okay, it looks like a good sell up there. I like the sell high. Looks like it's going up too far. Go to the sell tickets. There you go. Let's go to the daily chart. Okay. It's in the cloud there. It's going up. But there's been money made here. So this is the 4-hour trade and the, well, this is CAD yen, same thing. The yen. The yen is getting crushed. Looks like the CAD's going to kill the yen here. Go up again. Not done going up. the scalpers have had their fun. If you had sell limits here, you're already a genius and you're out. You made like, what, 10 pips? These are 100 pip handles on this thing. So yeah, spread's tight here, but this is evolved markets unless you're in it. They just locked everybody out of the United States. Can't go to evolve anymore. Yeah, so there's only there's a handful of people left. Europeans are looking for brokers, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know how many people. It's a pretty niche market. Forex courts. Watching the videos, people talking about, people are just starting to get into it. The only traction I see is that it is a 24-hour market. So when you come into Asia here, there's some real nice, silly, easy setups. Like here's a triangle. It would be, how do you play these? So if you wanted to, this isn't too bad of a, you can't really see the triangle here unless you get to the 1 hour. But I mean triangle, I just mean lack of volatility. So I can cordon that off with a line, either on wicks or on, so if I want to really get in this trade, I'm looking for a break of the tightest. Okay, there's no volatility there because that's how do we know? Because we can draw two converging lines off of not the wicks but the closing price. Because the wicks are just it's like Renko. There's no time here. So that's your Renko right there. The fact that there is no time, there's a time slot, but there's no punctuation of the pace of the market. Like this structure of close exists in, the structure for me is on the close, and the wicks would be a zoomed out, say, 5-minute chart. So if you took a 5-minute chart and you found the turnaround inside of that, it doesn't mean that the market is going to, but this is a financial pivot for people because this goes back, let's go 4 hour without switching. So this goes back here, and the 4 hour zoomed in is probably easier to see the, if you wanted to really force a trade with a trend line break, I would say connect two mountaintops and you're looking for a break here, you're looking to get in right here. Now, just like I just said in the other thing, if you get in as this is breaking and you put a trailing stop in, your money management system put a stop in here, it's completely different than the guy that risks more money with a stop here. But then he would have to change his size to have the exact same dollar risk. So dollar risk and pip risk, and some guy's saying he wants to make 300 to 600 pips, is completely different than a guy who wants to make $6,000. So for all the whining about demo, I still don't even in the demo world, don't hear people talk about what am I risking on this trade. And guys like Forex Hangout Guy doesn't understand that risk is a money thing, not a pip thing. It's about money. But either he's too lazy to change his size or it's too disorientating. In other words, if I say, well, I'm going to drive a diesel truck and then I'm going to drive a smart car, unless you can shift mentally between those two insane parameters, then yeah, you're fucked. That's why if you have a favorites list, maybe you can, I'm not over trading it. I'm just going to put an order in there. Okay, let's see here. And you're just planting seeds. So seeds of doubt is what you're doing, son. So I can put the sell on here. And then I had this, another problem with the favorites list is that it doesn't auto-arrange like Commons does alphabetically, and I had to write scripts that started with the 0 one to force it to the top of the list, but it's auto-listing here. Here, when you range these, it's a real bitch because you got to know exactly where to drop that, to reshuffle this. The only thing that's kind of cool is here, you have it here, we have it queued, right? So I can queue an order by just saying, okay, I'm ready to drop that one. We got here, and I got my sell. Now, you got to be careful because now the sell is not being forced to the bottom of the list where it is inside the common area. So if I put a sell here, and I can stack up micros, I also have the flexibility to put in the wider, the riskier ticket. Because if I can't change any smaller, well, here actually I have changed it. So I've made this $5 risk because it's a 2K with a 25 stop. This is a 50 pip stop with a 1K. So I'm already ahead of the guy that's trading a 2K on one ticket. I'm ahead by 100%. In just the drop related to the aspect of just dropping tickets. So the new add-on comes at the bottom into the favorites. Now this is the 50 pip stop, and I can just be a slob, and now these could last all week also. So every Sunday night, technically, you could come in and place all your orders for the whole week, and be like, I'm done. And that's the old thing you'd hear people say, well, I could trade I just spend 5 minutes a week trading. You could. When Sunday this is also means that when Sunday opens, you're going to get out all your winners, unless you want to see those to fruition. So you have everything from a guy that's scalping 10 standard lots with his finger on the trigger, and all he does all day is run a 4.5 pip stop to make 8 pips, and he's doing that manually. Then you've got the robots, then you've got people that are saying, well, I'll trade a stop entry with a good setup with a 50K, and maybe I'll buy one at the market, and buy one on a stop for confirmation. Now I'm in a standard lot, and it's going up. I mean, it's a bottomless pit of variations on people trading this shit. There's nothing I could say that would make you comfortable with switching, having more than one approach, because unless you like that kind of stuff, because you just have to do it until you became callous to the discomfort. So if it's uncomfortable, you know you're doing it right, as they say. I felt discomfort when I would read books and I would think, oh, I know I'm not going to be able to follow this. It's too dumb. And I thought, well, looking back, now I look back, I go, yeah, I guess if you can accept it, but I could never accept what anybody told me. I go, really? That's all right. And so I would pick it apart and I go, this looks fucked here. And of course, you couldn't ask the book a question. That was the problem. And so I just kind of looked at that, and then when the YouTube came, I was cracking up because I'm like, look at these people. Like I said, when I saw the first Gartley pattern, I said, huh? And then some people reference it in like a Roswell kind of way of thinking about it. They have it pegged to the well, that's page 112 from the book that this Hearst guy wrote, and I think that's how it goes. And they just call it the 112 pattern because that's the 112 page that first showed up. Yeah, it's like the Dead Sea Scrolls, some scribbled shit on the fucking shoreline in Israel. Okay. And I actually was down there to see it, and the guy in the tour said, that's where they found the Dead Sea Scrolls. And I'm like, they haven't found my scrolls yet. It's like, we don't allow narcissists to this site. We don't allow people with an ego to this site. So, yeah, the pound New Zealand, anybody in this one? And hoping it goes higher. So I think this is obvious. I like this other one. The market wants to go higher. Only because you're long. So the distortions that people put on these fucking prices. Now, I do like the idea of diversified entry and diversified stops. So I'm going to go with the... and these should last all week because this looks like a good trade to me. Unfortunately, I picked the Bitcoin trade, which means that is now a 5,000 pip stop. But I don't care. It's a demo, so I'll let it go. So that's what my sell bank would look like for the rest of the week. These are going to last a day. I don't know if we're going up 200 pips tonight. Here's the question. If you're the guy that likes to sell on scalps and pick the proper, here is a daily sell. And so what I did here was, okay, another thing about the favorites. If you put this in the favorites, why does this say SD1? Because on the tablet, I put the smallest economicalist situation here where I only have. Also, I've called out the sell, so my eyes attracted to, okay, this is, I'm going to sell. And this way I can, on the tablet, come all the way to here. I have even on this thing. Okay, I streamlined it. The only problem with this is as soon as you move this ticket, if you edit that, and you move this ticket out of this directory, you lose the meaning of it. So in the summarizing, to make it streamlined, you destroyed the portability of it, so to speak. But if you have it in a platform locked and that's how it is, and nobody's gonna fuck with it. But it said, the problem with a lot of these scripts is that some of them are directory dependent on the label. So you kind of screwed there. But I know this is a sell, and I can double check it. And the problem is when you write this much shit, and then you go back, oh, do I have to check all that stuff now? Holy shit! And that's why I can't sell it, because I'm like, holy shit, I gave somebody a buy and it's a sell. Here I did call out in the comments, you'll see the ticket come up as sell stop day, sell limit day. So this one ticket, placing it above becomes a stop, a goober, below it becomes a market maker. The smart money, the dumb money, okay? Typically, in my mind, because this is how it seems that people are calling this out. Retail, goober entry, smart money, limit. And so this is a 30 pip stop to make 80, and I didn't call out the actual. So if I was going to scalp that, so here's a 3K. Now I got to do the math too, because I don't know. This is going to be $3 per trade here. Or I could hit a button that lays on a hard one. But if I put it right here at the 100 on the 100-yard line, right on that wick tip, and we got that RSI below there running. This was the reversal. I think in this video that I made recently in RSI, I said if you start buying on limits below this, because of the fact that and this is a 3-period RSI, so it's very dynamic. Anytime the market is, of course this is not a perfect signal because it's not 2 to 5 period, but it is more oversold here at a higher price relative to that. So it's 100 pips higher, but it's severely oversold, which means this is a pullback. Now that could be some 618 bullshit or the 50 level. It is also the window here. But the devastating thing about this is that even without RSI, all you had to perceive was this area on the chart, this and this. And even an entrance here is now a winner, presupposing you put the 300 pip Renko stop on that. A lot of people trade break even because they want a consistent win. If you're going to put in a 150 pip stop to make 150 pips, you could do that all day long here on this daily chart. If you're selling here with a 100 pip stop to make 200 pips because you can see this void. And when the market's going sideways, like this is a real drama. The breakout traders made money to this, but they got raped if they held it without a stop. Like they're thinking, oh, it's going to come on, crash here, but all it does is come back to this double top, and this is a double top on the 4-hour, or maybe even a triple top on the 4-hour, because this could be a double top here, and one single top. I don't think we have to go to the 4-hour chart. We know that the 12-hour chart has a triple top. Double there, and probably the final swing here. Right? Do we have to go to that chart? No. There's a beautiful that's quadruple top probably on the 12 hours. Perfect double top. Tags the, but look at about 8 pip window of slightly higher. But you got to be willing to, like that SEAL Team 6 goober, take the punishment of buying into this, buying into that, and getting the fuck out here, because unless you want to hold here to go here. So people like to talk about, well, I'm long. Where'd you get in? Right here. Dude, I'm up. Okay, but you were so fucking up. You didn't get out. It came back to where you got in. Well, I guess so, because I just traded one ticket. So this one ticket shit is just, I just don't get it. But I get human nature. I'm right. I did design the system. What, you think I just been sitting around here the whole time? I know what I'm doing. I'm not stupid like everybody said. So this is that, and that's this, and this is, also you have the trendline break of RSI, and that's going to happen before price. And the way to look at RSI. I could draw a steeper trend line. So if I'm really want to force a trade, I'm going to pick 2 mountain peaks like this. And RSI inevitably is going to lead price, breakout, pull back into the, it just happens to be pulling back in that line, but what's really happening, I think, is it's, since this is based on close, it is a little bit more oversold there, but that's actually divergence if you look at that. So divergence is the momentum dying. I don't know if you can see that divergence there. It's pretty faint. So you have a double bottom, and it's just so faint. Like, unless you fix the scale on that, you can't see it, but I think it's there. I think, no, yeah, there you go. See, slightly lower, and so I've studied RSI extensively, trust me. I could see it there. It was 1 pip away. And this is a good signal because it's only 2 bars. So the 2 bar signals are better than the 5. The more this one I think let's see here. Let me put the trend line on that puppy. So there's the divergence against. I'm sure divergence to me is probably another great way to trade on the clock based on RSI. Because you could have a 1-hour chart and you'd be like, oh, divergence. You're either going to put a buy stop in above you somewheres, or like this. Let's see. See, it would do no good for you to on the daily. Like I said, I would trade the RSI on the closing clock period, because if you put a buy stop here, you're late. I mean, let the buy stop be there, but you'd have to buy at the market. Like I said, when the market's down, you buy, upsell. Can anybody see the negative reversal here? So this is pretty subtle. You really wouldn't see this unless you drilled down on the 3 period, but notice more overbought and at a lower price than that reference. So once you get used to watching that momentum where you're like, holy shit, is that thing overbought or what? And it's coming up into this. So if you want to do tops become bottoms in RSI. So if you really want some kind of, okay, I'm going to look at for tops become bottoms in price and RSI, that's one more filter that you can stack the thing. It doesn't mean, see, if you have a trend line on RSI, right, it's breaking before this trend line, isn't it? I mean, this is actually telling you, okay, this is wave 4. So a lot of Elliott, not that Elliott wave is going to always unfold, but top become a bottom. You also have top bottom here in price. So you got a wedge, which means low volatility, but you already knew that. But if you are going to trade at the end of the day, if you're a daily RSI guy, end of the day, there's so many insanely good setups on the 3-period RSI on the daily chart, but you'd have to run religiously this one template. So if you took this template and save that template as, I'm going to call it 1 RSI. So if I go from market to market with this, I'm going to come over to the Australian dollar, and I'm going to put the this template in here. If I can find it now. 1 RSI. And this will be my go-to. In other words, you could run, since you have all week to trade on the daily charts, put in like that Renko guy says, you should try it. Because you would see, oh, this is the monthly, but it works. A 3-period RSI to me is just about right. 4 periods too laggy, 2 periods too whipsaw, just like a moving average. Give me a 3-period moving average and a closing moving average, and run a histogram. Like MACD is, see, the problem with MACD is it's 12.26.9. It's way the fuck out there. It's like cloud bullshit. If you're going to trade in the moment as the market's coming at you, even if it's coming at you on the weekly, but say you still have market stops and limits, because there's great when you trade, if you're trading on your phone. So this guy that was wanted to get in touch with me, I know he trades on his phone at work. So the problem with that is, unless you can throw a stop in, which you usually, unless you have a one-click template on top of your Android, or your broker has another platform that lets you come in with a one-click with a hard stop of 100 pips to swing trade these markets, you need a 200 pip stop, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna get some here. Give me some of that. Like it's like something just spilled out of the truck. The market's fucking down hard. You buy that? Okay, yeah. I've never felt better in my life buying a fucking smashed up and smashed down move. Typically smashed down. Never felt better. So even if it's, I know it's going to go underwater at least a tenth of a pip. I think it's okay. What's the probability you're going to be underwater 13 pips if you bought at the market in the London's crash? I mean, the London smash, it comes in, whatever it's doing, and you get in after 4 hours down. You just, okay, every 4 hours I'm just going to buy if it's down. If it's really down, now if it's only lightly down, maybe you don't buy. And so you would regret that immediately, saying, well, I should, next time I'm going to buy every time it's down every 4 hours, but I'll buy 2 button presses 15 minutes apart. But that doesn't mean that the next 15 minutes isn't going to be like you're chasing it. So another problem with trading. I can tell you other problems with trading. Because if you're going to say, well, I'm going to buy it every, can you break even that slight rule and go, well, you know what? I'm supposed to be a disciplined trader and pull the trigger every 4 hours, but I pulled it twice because it's down big and I have a, okay, um, and maybe you should pull the trigger, boom, boom. Because what if it goes up? But this is the thing, if you go boom, boom, do you peel one off and treat it as a scalp and let the other guy float? Well, you should if you think that it's not going to go lower. If you pull the trigger, even waiting 30 seconds between trigger pulls, you're going to get a different price if the market's on fire. So, do you go boom, boom, and go, shit, I'm going to fucking 2K with a goddamn, and the market's screaming down another 50 pips, and you're like, shit, should I buy more? Well, do you have any limits in there? Are you going to play? Are you going to trade at the market all week long? Another question, because I'm putting in these, because I'm posting all these scripts, doesn't mean that like the classic line is, uh, but honey, I've still got checks in the checkbook, but there's no money in the account. But just because you've got scripts on your platform doesn't mean that. So you is obvious as it looks like. Oh, looks like a completely valid technique. You still have to space them wide enough and run wide enough stops to endure a fill like that. And if you're buying at the market, you've already eaten up your limits. Now you got to get rid of your limits to keep your account at whatever. If you want to risk half the account in a total risk of ruin per day, these orders last 24 hours. I mean, you'd have to have that approach to it. Plus, you have to casually trade it. Whereas if you want to see how you're doing, you're going to watch the platform. But if you can watch yourself outside of yourself and think it's somebody else's account, and that's why once you can demo trade as if it's, in other words, once you can trade real money as if it's demo money, in the sense that it's funny because this guy was saying, well, he could take a demo account and he could double it in one day. And I thought, well, why can't you do that with a real account? So if you can't do it with a demo, in other words, if you say you can make money with a demo, but you can't with real money, then you just have, you're really worried about the money. And of course, at what point does $500 seem like a demo account? When you have $1 million? What is demo to you? Not to mention, all the carbon footprint of downloading the file. You're spending some kind of energy, right? I don't know. Anyways, hope that helps. I can't say I have an organized presentation, and I could blow through all the charts here, and people would say, "Oh, that's hindsight," but you'd have to have some. I can call out all the trades as it goes right now. There's no breakout trades available on the monthly. Okay. You missed your entry here, and that was a trap on the weekly. On the daily, this is your big winner from a buy stop entry. On the RSI, here's a sell. If you had the discipline, anytime the market came above this, you started selling. So why? Because this matches this, and every time it is more overbought at a lower price, you start to sell in a downtrend. How do you know it's a downtrend? Because it recently went down. I'm not looking at this. I'm looking at the most recent movement. I guess I could explain it 100 times on Tuesday, but this is a very long-legged divergence. You gotta be a person that can handle a dumbass buy stop entry, which is a great winner that never, unless the robot came in and ran a money management, you made money all the way to here. You have to be aware of this. Right now, pressure's building up here. We're probably gonna go after this stop, maybe just for a nick, and then it pulls back. So one ticket's donated to that. Right now, you would have bought at the market quite heavily um, today. Not so heavily here, very heavily at the market. So you're in 4K. You put buy limits in here. You're filled on limits. Another 6K on limits. I wouldn't recommend buy stops on the daily. So I like the idea of buy at the market. Like, you know, there's a rare fucking entry there. Not a lot of pips. Another rare breakout. I don't like breakouts on the daily. I think if you're better if you got this kind of time. I still go the 4 hour and just trade twice as much because I can't justify sell stop. I want to be selling on limits into that a little bit too. Sell at the market. So if you and you probably wouldn't want to write a script that says, well, I mean, you could, I guess, just to make it a canned thing. Of course, it is going to be pip. If it's a double click, it's going to be pip dependent, but it sells at the market. It puts in a limit. It puts in a stop. Now, as soon as you do that, the question is, how long does the stop last? How long does the limit last? If it lasts all week, then every time this goes up, you sell and it automatically puts a limit and a stop in. So you could have it so you sell at the market, which I wouldn't on a down bar. If anything, this is the time for the, dare I say, confirmation, sell stop, maybe sell limit. I just hate getting like buying this. I'm sorry, selling this makes sense to me, and buying that back. In other words, you just made money here. But before you buy at the market, if you put your limits in first here, and then they fill you, then you can buy at the market, buy at the market, buy at the market. You're long 3 at the market, but you're also long on your limits in the trap. So your limits are sitting here. It's also down. I would buy at the market and a filling on limits. Then there's no trade at the market, then no trade, then market. So you're only in 3 market orders there. If the rule is you're going to buy pullbacks. And as far as the trend goes, because the market's dynamic, this is the uptrend. It's now in an uptrend. It's in an uptrend. You're trying to buy on pullbacks. So you have to have a lot of yin and yang. It's funny that this Renko guy was using the yin yang Japanese symbol, and I thought, God, if he's the most one-sided goober, and really not even taking he couldn't say anything about the market. Now notice the failure of the reversal here. We have more overbought at lower price than here, and this is what people say. Well, see, it doesn't work. Okay, well, it's also time out for this. Or it's getting all I guess there's kind of a shell divergence here, a little bit. But see, this is too long-legged. It's better to have a nice divergence like this that is under 5 period. So see all the signals in this thing? It's a monster. I'm totally zoomed in. It's a monster. Also, we have we're looking for the market to get above here, and this would be a reversal. It would be more, and I'm referencing this price. So if it only makes it to here, and RSI comes screaming up, it's technically time to sell one at the market, but it is anyways. So anytime it's up, you sell. Down, you buy. With the caveat that you have to adjust the width of the stop if you're going to swing trade that. So buying here at the market, getting filled on limits. You wouldn't buy at the market here necessarily because you've already committed to the limit market maker entry. You buy at the market here, and here you still got limits pending maybe. So to have this multi-dimensional approach where you're not just a market trader, you're not a slave to the clock. And that was the whole point of trading, was to not even have to be there for it. But people are afraid. Like I said, this one guy who supposedly had some problem, and the guy never told me what it was, is I said to him, "Do you have a problem putting sell limits up there?" He goes, "Nope." It's pretty rare you'll hear anybody say that that's ever traded or read a book, because I've been told, "Oh, put a sell stop here for confirmation entry. There you go. That a boy, you're making money now. See what I told you? Here, right? Go with the flow." Well, I'm trading order flow. I'm trading price action too. All these terms are just hysterical once you hear them a million fucking times. And with the absolute no reference, people just say, "I trade price action." I'm like, up or down? Like with it or against it? Cracking me up. Well, you just don't understand that, man. In the 4-hour view of RSI here, a little more brutal, because the broker's picking the close here, this particular broker. With the 1-hour chart, I like the 1-hour chart because it's 24 bars. Now, I think maybe you would go to a 5 RSI, but there's a better answer. You keep it on 3 and you just go like this, because all that matters is price. And you'll see people in power trading, they go 7 period RSI. I can make this RSI look, since it's at 3, I can read it here. But now you're going to, because it's so out there, your reversals are real long-legged. They're like 20 period reversals on here. That is a problem. On the daily, they're crisp. And also, it's the end of the day. There's less trading. There's only 5 or 6 bars a week. But here you would look at a completely different view of your signal is going to be a triple. It needs to be a triple on here so it can be a double on the 4-hour and be more significant. And there's less noise. Not to say you can't make money off of noise. And once you look at the 1-hour here, you'll see that RSI just beats the shit out of Ranco. Or anything really. Honestly, I don't even know if I would say it's an indicator. It's more of an index. So it's, it indicates things, but what do you put, what significance do you put on those things? And so can anybody see the, and these aren't ideal. There are some 5 period reversals in here. So with the 3 period, you're able to pick up this situation, which you cannot get on the 5 or the 4. So that's more overbought at a lower price. And it's really hard to believe that that's this price compared to this price. That is a sell in RSI. That's what makes RSI spectacular, is that momentum-wise, this is more overbought. This index is telling you, and it's just one calculation. It is simple. It is as simple as it gets. Here is a triple sell. 1, 2, 3. More overbought at a lower price, all 3. The way to calculate your target is the lowest close within those 2 is this. Add to this. You should make it to here. You eventually do. Here, anybody see the most rip-roaring signal in here? Now, it's really hard to see it first, but once you do it, you'll never unsee it. More overbought, lower price. It's pretty subtle here, because this is this, right? So how many rallies? And these are spectacular trend continuation sells, or just sells. Here is a failure. Here's a long-legged one that kind of fails. It makes a little bit of money, but if you look at this compared to this, it's not quite as deep. Why these are good is because these are that's 0, 1, 2 period reversal. Two paired reversals. I mean, the guy that I studied with, Andrew Cardwell, if he saw my video, he'd be like, no shit, Sherlock. And he uses all sorts of stuff. He uses a 420 EMA on top of it. It's just too much. This is the signal. This is more overbought, lower price, and it's still crashing through the floor here. About to take out this. Another thing is, how do you know that this is a reversal? And why is it such a powerful move? Is because just before this sell, just before the market is more overbought at a higher price, you had divergence. And you could have made a little bit of money there. But this is a dead cat bounce divergence. Here's divergence, right? Also, your trend line's about to break. Your trend line in RSI has broken. I call this the transverse index. I guess I should just call this video RSI, how to trade RSI. Like I said, you have to be up for it, and of course here on the 1 hour, we just got a sell signal. But do you take it? And how long is it going to go? So last hour, and some guy said my clock sucks, and it really does. I was going to put a new one in here, and I was going to change it. And the thing is that once I put Mickey Mouse on here for a millisecond, and so I have to make sure I don't go for the Mickey Mouse clock. Or even Casio is probably going to sue me. Hurry up and fly past that. Here, Omega. I don't know if they'd sue me. Here we go. A brand we've never heard of. Gee, now that's disturbing. One of those fucking fancy clocks. Okay, here's just a nice goober clock. 3 minutes before the top of the hour. I get, after doing this so long, you just kind of start deco here. You're just okay, here we go. 8 o'clock. Now, this is technically a sell. And people would say, well, what if that doesn't work out, that trade? If anybody can see this, we've got this is 0, so we have 1, 2. We also have the divergence that's causing it. So here's your divergence here, right against these two lows. It makes it pop. What happens? It is more overbought, but at a lower price. And we take this and we add that move to this low, and this is our target. But we're also going to end up with divergence. It goes from divergence to, right, triple divergence causes I don't know if this is slightly lower. It's more overbought, lower price. So anytime it is overbought, yes, you could sell it, but it's based on the fact that your last price pulse is down. And here is the top of the hour. We see drama here. 2 minutes, 1 minute before the top of the hour. So we go to the 1 minute chart. We can trade RSI on the 1 minute chart. You got to be quick on the draw, though. See the sell here? More of a bought, lower price. So on the 1 minute chart, you could get used to it. See this sell? More of a bought, lower price sell. But does it mean you can hold that trade till Kingdom Come? And look at the spread is sitting at 2. You sold here. You're still in profits if you get out now. You kind of missed your exit. Here's the buy limit entry. Here's divergence. So when you look at RSI like this, which I didn't understand why Cardwell didn't do it, because he had the blurriest fucking charts. It looked like ICT on crack, or on sand in his eyes. Here we go. Boom, it is now 8 o'clock. Now let's go to the 1 hour chart and see if our sell's working. And it probably, in other words, you're up on that trade right now if you sold at the market 2 hours ago. But you really got to think, well, okay, where do I get out? Oh, fix the scale on this. Okay. So you have to wait an hour now. And look how this is crushing down on the 5-minute chart here. So we just stop hunted this poor guy who put a stop here and a stop there. And we got divergence now on the okay, we have confirmed divergence now. We're either going to put a buy stop here, but we can't because the market's already traded there. Spread's too wide. Rent's too damn high. Buy stops here. You should have got filled on your limit maybe here if you placed it on. If you placed it on close, you got filled. So there's a big difference between because an inch is as good as a mile. If you have a buy limit here, you probably got filled. If you have a buy limit here and here, no fill maybe. So if you bought every minute it was below in the auction trap here, if you bought here and bought here at the market and maybe you got filled here to limit, so you're in a 3K, or maybe you're in 30 standard lots. But what if you're just on a 3K and your target is up here, and you're on the 1 minute, you're on the 5-minute chart, but you're like, oh, I got buy limits here and here, and you say, you know, I like this trade right now. Buy one more, right? How about a limit here to buy, a limit here? Now here's where it gets like, okay, yeah, I think I want to buy like 3 pips deep. I want to buy right there on a limit. And why overpay? And I can take a buy dollar drop here and drop it. I can't see the fucking, here's a buy. So I can buy on a limit here, and I could buy on a stop here like an idiot, and I could buy on a limit here, and I could just walk away. Nice thing about RSI is you can trade it based on momentum over time. Here we did not get a good sell though on the 30-minute. Another thing is you would make more money on the 15 if you were willing to work for it instead of sitting back waiting for signals on the other time frames. You don't get a sell there, unfortunately. You need a 2-period RSI to get that one. Good structure here though. On the 30-minute it shows up. If I go to the 30-minute chart, 15, you can see it. So I marked it off here. I guess not. No, it doesn't show up there either. It shows up before that. It shows up like right here. So it's not something that this market's not moving fast enough to give you what you really want. This is too long-legged too. This is if that's 0, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This zigzag kind of screws it up. Here's a divergence of 1, 2, 3 period divergence. This is 0, 0 to 3, so you count it. So yeah, it's gonna be, you're gonna overtrade it. Here is you couldn't rely just on RSI. You'd have to rely on the limits and the structure of the price as it's really going. So if I put just buy limits down here, just because I don't want to overpay, and I have to wait every. So this is this cell's working out from the sell 2 hours ago, RSI. So it is very brutal to try to trade the 15-minute chart from just a closing price thing, because there's too many, you know, you're especially the spread's bad, which it is now. Well, this currency is probably bad all day long. And this is a damn tight spread here from this broker, but Asia is wide, which is probably what that Ryan Brown He's so clueless that he probably was trying to trade stop entry in Asia. His robot was trying to do that. Um, I could put a buy. This broker let me put a buy stop inside the spread, which you couldn't do that before. So the idea that these are the brokers are bad, they've never gotten better. They've only gotten better, and now that the EU has made it so that we can just go off and be our own Bitcoin exchange. In other words, Forex will be ultimate liquidity, and let me see how I put some more buy limits on my losing trade here. So buying into a loser. It's really not, like I said, losing is incremental terminology. You can be a total fucking loser, and you can be a slightly fucking loser. I mean, it's incremental, isn't it? Here's my Australian dollar trade. So it looks like it's going to keep tanking. So I'm just going to keep putting my buy limits down here. Risking 50 pips, I think, here to make 100 all day long. I think we are going to go into the floor. I don't think there's any Fibonacci going to stop it. I don't think the market can see your 618. But I'm just going to put buy orders in here. I'm actually got a 5,000 pip stop on that one up there. This cluster up here hasn't been stopped out because it's Bitcoin. I put Bitcoin, but here's the stops for this. So tonight I'll be buying this all this week. This one I think I'm underwater on the. Gosh, I've dropped Bitcoin orders on that. Oh shit! Here, let me put the RSI template up here. Look at New Zealand with the RSI binoculars. So here's the simple divergence and a failure of the reversal here too. If you look at this, this is why if you're going to trade divergence and think that, well, look at this reversal that's set up. I'm going to load the wagon here and we're going to go down lower. The reason why that's probably not happening for you is the fact that once the market, you want to call it market makers or stop hunters, whatever you want to call it, it's kind of weird to try to color that term, but they get their dead cat bounced to the 100-yard line, then they take it lower, and now it's trapped under the floor, recovers, plows into this vacuum, and RSI is just reading. Like this divergence was spectacular, even though this is let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 period. So 2 to 5 period divergences. It's sharp enough, you know. Not really a good sell here. You know, not a perfect setup, but definitely the structure is ruling the world. Just like this is going through the floor now. So I think this is going to crack through the floor like the Euro did that one night. I think I was streaming. I go, yeah, we're just going to go through the floor. So you could still jump on the short train here, you know. On RSI, you'd have to hunt down 30 minutes. Not bad. Here's your sell. Here's a really nice sharp sell with the structure. Also, the RSI guy taught me tops become bottoms. Tops become a bottom with confirming a momentum shift. It's like a backdraft momentum. It's that giant sucking sound is what it is. Here, I don't know if anybody can see this one. Oh shit! Really? Wait. Please hold. Right here now. What's the count on this? So 2 to 5 is the best. So here you have. It's pretty hard to spot. This slight rally here, where this bottom becomes a top, it dies out into that. This is the 30-minute chart. If you compare these two prices, see this slump is this, so it's actually a double sell. It's pretty subtle. More overbought here than at these levels. You take the lowest close within there, you add it to that, you end up with this as your target. Another amazingly steep sell. But this is going to end soon. Another amazingly steep sell. And what was the cause is divergence. So if you do see divergence, it doesn't mean you can't buy this divergence. And people say, well, the divergence is fucking my account over. Yeah, because when you bought this, and it's really moving quite hard down, it's causing the reversal. All right, so this cause for the effect. And these are also all above this. So in a real objective view of that overbought, more overbought, lower price concept is that anything above this qualifies. So these two, and these are long-legged, so these aren't as trustworthy for quick and dirty money because also everything above this. But if you go back to that, that takes into account this compared to this price here. This is a huge, look at this rally in the index and look how tiny the move is. That should tell you something there. This is the yin and yang of this fucking thing, this RSI. You really can't see it unless you go 3 period and you stretch it out like this. You just can't see this shit. If I made this RSI, I'll just show you how I would never do it. If I make RSI settings, take them to a 7 period, which for a lot of people it's twice as fast as 14, and that's what they run, or a 9. Let's do 7. You can still see this trade, right? But now you've got to stretch this out, and now you've fucked the price over a little bit. Plus, the trades that I took here are gone. Well, I guess not really. This one still exists. It's harder to see for me. This one still exists, but this one's gone. This one's still here. Okay. Here's one. Boom, boom. Divergence. And this one's still here. The divergence here is gone though. And this is not as dramatic. So if I make so to compare it, and I just decided 3 would be the most dynamic. Kind of makes sense. If I put in another RSI, I put 3 at the bottom. So you could also have and the reason why I typically don't run RSI in there because I know in my mind's eye what RSI is doing. So once you get used to that, you would not have to, hopefully I can stick this in. Beneath, I'll put the 3. So now we can see which one's going to give us the most bestest signal. So we're definitely going to see less stuff here going on. And it's just a sharper, I have to stretch this out. To get this 7 to look like the 3, I'm just eating up so much vertical space on the screen, it's not worth it. So here is why the 3 is superior in the sense that if you really want to jump on these trades, here's a reversal, here is none. Also, you could say I have divergence against the 7 period. Another way to look at it, since this tracks price, closing price so closely, I could say, well, you know, this is more overbought and RSI is lower. And then you can see what's making RSI behave the way it is. And sometimes you'll get a better sell here than you do here because this is so sensitive. So I've studied this extensively for, oh God, I'd say, well, for at least 15, 18 years. So I was in New Orleans in, I don't know, 1990. I can't remember. What's it? What year is it now? 18. So that's like 25 years ago, something fucking crazy. And so I really drilled. I spent. Of course, I don't know. This is somehow different, and I mean, I know people are charging a lot of money, but I met this guy. I mean, I talked to him on the phone quite a bit. I listened to his tapes in the car. And what it came down to was, it was partly the RSI, but what it was he would say stuff like, well, why would you go golfing if there's a 90% chance of rain? Now, a real golf addict would probably play in a lightning storm. So, I guess you'd call it market wisdom, or you'd just call it fucking living wisdom, that this is the kind of stuff that may make somebody a winning trader, is that they say, yeah, why would I play? If you're a person like me that overthinks shit, you would say, yeah, that's not going to work because I still want to trade. So you're going to have to go to the 5-minute chart. If you're looking for an RSI setup and you want to have it now, he would trade the weekly with commodities and RSI and just kill. Because what he would do is, he would be long the stock market right now. I guarantee you, if he's still trading, Andrew Cardwell is long the stock market. He's like, I'm still getting reversals, I'm still getting signals just like this one. Just like the sell I got here an hour ago. And the dollar's just going to crush these currencies a bits now. See, here's a sharper sell, 3 against 7. And look at this thing run away. If I go to the 1-hour chart. Yeah, so he'd say stuff that I'm thinking about it now, thinking, holy shit, man. It's that dumb, huh? A lot of these really good traders are just not, like, there's nothing special about, it's just that they're doing it. It's kind of like the guy that works on these, not that it's not dangerous, but the people that climb towers, there's some people that get off on that. Climb a tower to put an antenna up, they're like, I'll do it, give me that thing. They feel alive because they're close to death. Especially trading money. So we have this sell signal here on the 1 hour. We're getting it across the. Do you believe in chess? That guy was like, it's like a chess. Look at this. Look at that. I'm like, hey, here's your sell. You sold 2 hours ago. Now I'm thinking, let's start taking profits. And look at as you fall into the abyss. Take a look out to see if you can find where we're going. Now this would take a little bit of zoomage, a little scrunching here, and a little fixing of the scale. And we're going to look back. And so instead of compressing the data, just go to the monthly so you can keep the noise down. To me, is all that zoomed out shit. It makes the market look like a mess. Fucking train wreck. And just fix the scale and make it, because we don't care about all these pips up here. This is a 100 pip grid. What do you think about buying down here? Would you buy on this and I could place them right on there? Yeah, I'd buy that. So there's $20 on the table. And then just all week long here. But look at this meltdown. And then, so on the monthly, we're looking at the drop here. And it wouldn't be a surprise to us. I've traded this stuff. I mean, I've sat there and watched the market come down, and the reaction that it gets off of this wick is fucking insane. So I've just spent hours looking at this shit. Look how tight I can put. Look how I can not even duplicate a ticket here. This is the critical price. It's just so stupid. This price right here is so critical. That window all the way down to fucking, this is huge, but with the scale fixed. Now you can tell somebody put all these balls in here and don't duplicate in order. Okay. And did the balls last all week? Would you buy there? Oh, I'd buy there any fuck all day long. And as the clock passes by, we can confirm. So if we're on the 1 hour chart, we got divergence now. We could get out of our shorts and maybe buy one. Divergence on the 7 period RSI. And it is brutal. Coming into the end of the week. Do we reverse? Do we keep tanking? I don't know. RSI nailed it here. We've got a beautiful 2 period reversal. I don't know if you can see it. It's hard to see. I know if you're not used to it, but like I said, right there was a sell, and here's another sell. And it even goes back to here, referencing off of that. It targets you down, way down, but you may not hit that target. You might, and maybe you're you sold here at the market just because it's up. But this is a better sell because it's an RSI sell, and it is a 2 period reversal. Insanely strong. I mean, it's a very subtle switch that gets hit there. So, how about the guppy? Let me throw my RSI on the guppy. So yeah, RSI is a completely, but you're gonna get trounced if you just trade one ticket. And if you're gonna trade wide stops and everything, you're gonna be a genius, because you would say, look, I finally right. Let's go to the let's see. This is a 1 hour. Looks like we're gonna crush in a hole here. So I'd be willing to put in buy limits starting here all the way down, and then put more bigger tickets here. So see it's a 2 hour basement here. I want buy limits here, and I can only imagine people saying, "Oh, I suppose you're just going to put buy limits." I'm like, yeah, I am. Sorry, it's just not glamorous. If you can see the sell here, very slight sell in RSI. I wish there was a line down on RSI so we could count these periods. But this is almost more of a bot than it is here, lower price. So that's crashing to the floor. Here was your long-legged buy signal. You got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 period reversal. Just one period outside the ideal. Kind of a divergence here that caused it. So you got your divergence, People are selling that. They actually make money. But it comes in it, and it comes back into this. Then this is your long-legged buy signal here. And that's why this is suspicious, because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 period reversal. Not great. A little bit of a move, but now they're going to crush it. Because I would call this a triple divergence, kind of, even though people technically say, yeah, but for that kind of move, and it's only getting to here. Also, another reason why RSI is the best, because if you drew a trend line, I think my old videos are like this, but people don't want to see anything old. If you are looking for this to hit, it actually goes beyond it, and this is why the divergence doesn't turn out that great. If this was to fail to hit new highs, I guarantee you this is a divergence. It's diverging away from the projected move, and if you're going to do a measured move projection off of these two tops, you hit your target on time. So this kind of crude, and people say trend lines don't work. So you get the people at SVT going, dude, it's like it works if you work it. It overshoots that line. But if this is your cycle, your price pulse, and the market's pulsing, there is no doubt about that. If you measure that, and you can just do it with the nodes on the, so you have this bar here, which is this. There is divergence there. And this is where you would have got killed, because you'd say, look, there's divergence, but there's divergence. It's also the measured move price pulse. This is equal. This opportunity right here. Here's your opportunity. And so here is divergence, and then we have this monster buy signal here. Now we're tanking. Let's take a look at the 4-hour world. And there's more risk, but there is more reward pip-wise, more risk pip-wise, but if you're forced to trade a 10K, it is definitely more risk financially if they force you. So let's go to the 4-hour. And here you see the divergence, almost a nice clean, not quite, but it is that area. Plus there's a retest of this breakdown. So the mechanical breakout people on the 4-hour, which I would trade breakouts on the 4-hour, because at least there's only 6 windows. Here's a buy stop, complete goober trade on the guppy. Goober guppy trades here. This may be too big of a bar for you, but this is definitely too big of a bar. Putting a sell stop here and putting a buy stop here. I know you're going to say, well, that's the breaker bar entry. No shit, Sherlock. And look at the money I made. Yeah, but dude, if you're not reversing here when you get down into this thing. So the guppy is a lot of pips. This is in, you know, since the week of coming up here and then just totally crushing down. But here, I guess you could say you got, if you just have a single ticket, you got crushed here. The money management bot that bought here and came in, he only made this much. Right on and on. This is 8 hours of very, very quiet. Actually, this is 12 hours of nothing. What could possibly go wrong for the bulls? They had their fun here, and then you also have a loss of liquidity, a loss of volume. Never a loss of liquidity. Volume and range is dying out. Nothing from RSI to speak of, unless you consider. I don't see anything there. And right now it's sizing up as a buy. Every 4 hours that we are below here, you would then at the end of 4 hours you'd buy here because you have a setup. It doesn't mean it's going to work out. It's more oversold at a higher price. Structurally, I wouldn't donate. Like I said, when people say it doesn't work, well, you wouldn't just run one system. Let's hope, right? You don't just play in one key, in minor and major keys. As minor moves that if you're trading twice the size is the same amount of money. Here, this is setting up right now. You also have your, okay, I'm putting a buy limit here, buy limit here, buy limit here. This one's already been filled and killed, and If you sold here on a limit, you're up. I know it's hard to believe that he put his sell limit up at the top of this wick, the top of this wick, and top of this wick, that this fill here, you would naturally have to, logically, in a chess world, if it's a chess game, you got to take something here. Right? You got to take a piece. You can't go for the checkmate, which is maybe down here. You got to take, or if you play chess now, the chess analogy, you can play for points, like a rook's 5 points. You know, I think a bishop's 3 points. Knights are 3 points. Well, rooks are 5. If you're going to do, okay, well, it's keeping score there, how many guys you killed. I think there's a way to play chess like that for points. But yeah, this is a monster, and God knows what the hell that goes on inside of here. I mean, interesting, it closes at the 100-yard line, but it retests it 4 hours later, or somewhere in that 4-hour block. And these are, like I said, this price is ridiculous. It's nothing but a volatility bracket price. Now we're about to cross through the floor here. My limits are getting filled, and this is a reversal here. So you would have had a buy there, right? Because it's more oversold at higher price. So you're long from here. You're starting to get long on limits, and you'll be long if you buy. As long as the market closes above this price and this is lower, you would buy another one. Because you haven't got a zigzag yet. It's still in the process. So you'd buy here, because that's a reversal, very slightly. Not as good as if this can, and look at the RSI. If you watch it really closely, you can see it coming down as price is not moving that hard. The RSI is reacting harder. But yeah, it comes back to this. So there's 3 things going on here in this price circus. Let's see. Let's go to one more instrument here. The infamous dollar CAD that's completely ridiculous. Here I marked off where my limits are. So I bought this earlier today just based on buying into the hole. The swimming pool is here. Starting back here, and even more so this one here. And I had limits down here that never filled. Alright, so buy limits down here. Not that they wouldn't fill later on after we get this dead cat bounce out of the way. Let me put the RSI, see what the Holy Grail RSI says. Nothing. Of course, that's the weekly. Daily says, okay, here's a reversal sell, a little long-legged. It's kind of iffy because you got this one zag. This kind of screws it up a little bit, but actually that's a sell there too. But this one here, Barber bought, lower price, kind of long-legged. And add this. So here's how you target your signal. You take the lowest close within here, which is here. You add it to that, and this is your target. I don't have my trend line rate turned off, so I'm just doing a crude. And then we've got the divergence causing this bounce, just because we're just momentum capitulation off of this equal price pulse trend line. So from this node to here, we're supposed to be nailing this, and we are. So in a precision price projection, which momentum projects, like this is presupposing you believe that momentum exists, and so if you take the node to here, right, you nailed you get there price wise, but not time wise. But this is what's giving you that divergence, is the inability for the market to close into this line again. So you're not meeting expectations here, which is giving you the divergence. This isn't really divergence, but it's pretty fucking close. Let's see. Really don't see anything here. Like I said, you could also draw trend lines on this stuff. Looking to break this trend line. Double bottom and RSI. It's pressing the floor buy stops. Once again, you're tagging this huge, amazing retest, whatever we want to call it, basement that goes way back. And then look at this reaction. What do you think the sellers are coming in up here? The scalpers are coming in there for sure. And now we go up again. Are we going to reject this floor? I think so. The dollar's going to crush. I think the dollar's going to crush everything. Let's see. Let's go to the British pound. How did my sell work out? What is this RSI of 3? Look at that sell's working, and there was one more. I'm looking for this to go lower so I can buy more. So we got a lot of dry powder available in this trade. And the stock market. There's an RSI buy there. I'm pretty certain I'll look at it. See that? What else we got? Swiss. You can see the buys here. Yeah, I'm surprised a lot of people don't trade RSI. They have it on their screen, but they never talk about it. Here's the daily RSI on the dollar Swiss. Dollar Swiss is always a pretty boring, low move, low pip move market. Here's a quadruple divergence. Everybody sees this one. Pretty compressed in there. Just keeps banging. You get this compression here, serious. And then va-va-va-voom. Here's like your last reversal sell. The divergence. Here's a nice reversal, kind of long-legged. Doesn't really make much money until finally. I don't really like this Swiss. Here's a buy signal setting up. Classic. This is our buy limit here. May not even make it back here, but look how it's more oversold at a higher price. Like, if it just dipped a little bit lower, it'd be better. This is where people get burned on RSI. They start selling this, and they don't realize that, man, this thing is about ready to crush into here. And look, Katie, bar the door. Like, look at this monthly. This motherfucker's going to do some damage. Yeah, what's the dollar capable of here now? I will zoom out. What happens when the dollar comes up here into this hole? Look the fuck out. And I can almost see it coming now. As if you break this line, wow, look out. Whew, that's going to be a bloodbath. Look at this divergence on this last monthly divergence and how it's kind of, it's not giving a reversal, but it's certainly failing. I mean, you've had your fun here. Here's your divergence, big sell-off. See, it's not really more oversold here. It is oversold quite a bit. It doesn't qualify as that purest move. Here's divergence. Like I say, here's your monthly sell. Long-legged, this kind of screws up the count. That zigzag. Here's the depegging. Oh, it's only 4 years ago. Everybody's over it. Distant memory. Here's a nice big stop hunt. Amazing. And look at this window. Come back to here for how many pips on the monthly? Spectacular fucking moves. What else I got on here? All sorts of bullshit. Copper. Oh, that expired. Here goes crude now. Crude stepping into the sell window for the scalpers. This is it here. This rooftop on the monthly. This is history now. This is not a valid rectangle box. So I will say here is your top become a bottom. People that sold here, they go, shit, I am like not making any money. Then they stop hunting them. And here we go. Coming after this guy now. This guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. That's where they're going. This will be a huge vault. I don't know if we'll ever, but I'm telling you, this isn't like I'm not happy about it because my car is using fuel. Here's the last known bottom, way out there. Last known top. We're just not to say that you'd be crazy not to sell something here for the scalp back to here, or maybe it's done. Get the clock out of the fucking way here. So here's we've tagged this floor already. Last known low, closest, last known and closest. Let me stretch this out a little bit. So, okay. Now here we go. So, all these lows to come. I use rectangles so I can mark them off. These will be resistance coming back, I'm sure. $90 a barrel. Can you imagine? Well, it's called inflation. So Amazon raises they're paying people $15 an hour. And now they're saying, well, the government should raise it from 7. No, don't. Please, don't. Don't do that. That's fucking retarded. Why? Because if you're trying to start a business, now you got to compete with Amazon at $15 an hour, so you got to pay your guys $12 an hour. Or like, in other words, if the government's going to tell you. So what do you do when Amazon goes to 15? This is what I would do if I was in that market. I wish there was no minimum wage, because you know what I'd do? Like, okay, fuckers, I'll pay you $5, but you can have profit sharing. Then I set up my prop house. But I can't have a prop house, so unless some guy signs a contract that I'm just going to be his agent. I wonder how those prop houses are structured. I guess they are, right? It's worse than minimum wage. But it's for the person that's really excited about working. Look at those sellers coming out this floor here. Look at that scalp. Crude oil living in a... I don't think they actually got their fill if they have the sell limit here, so no fill. But yeah, I noticed that we just broke $3 a gallon here. So this is like a big... like I said, there's so many sells here on the 1 hour chart that somebody just made a mint here, right? Somebody sold this. High probability, sell high by low. Right there. They didn't make much money here. Look at this thing screaming. This is a 4 hour chart. Yeah, 1 hour chart. Look at this. Look at that fucking thing. Crazy. Absolutely astounding. I don't have anything else out here, do I? Oh, CAD yen, that's... let me put up the RSI on that one. All the yen pairs should look similar in the RSI world because it's closing prices. Let's take a look at the monthly. I don't see anything. So the problem with RSI is you're not going to see a lot of shit. There's nothing there. It's just going to keep storming up. You're just selling on limits anyways there. You're just storming north. I mean, no sell, no buy. You need a pullback. I guess this is a pretty long-legged signal here, but if you notice this relationship from this close to here, huge pullback, higher price, It's kind of going up. Look at this 2-period divergence here. Bang, bang, and then severe divergence. Triple top at the 100-yard line. Blammo. And that gives you the buy signal. The sell gives you the buy and back and forth. Okay, let's go to nothing on the weekly. Daily, here was your buy, and the daily you missed it. It's not the cleanest signal. You got divergence here, giving you that setup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not a buy. 6, 7. There's a nice divergence. Nice clean 2-period. 0, 1, 2. You're in. Plus you're expecting this vacuum to fill. Plus you've been here already. Pretty dumb shit. Here, look at this. Trapped up here a while. Go figure. A nice divergence here. 4-period. 1, 2, 3, 4. Set you up for the buy here. More oversold. I mean, yeah, more oversold. Yeah, higher price. 50 pips higher. What's really cool is when you get a divergence here after it comes down. I don't really see where I got that there. Yeah. But yeah, you got to have that up on screens and stuff like that. So anyways, that's my view. I'm sticking to it.